And joining us for a further look on what's playing itself out on that market scene is Faheema Adia from Momentum Securities. Thank you so much for your time, Faheema. I actually don't even want to start off with how the markets are doing. Just your general thoughts, if markets are actually looking at, SONA, and if they're making any predictions about what's to come.
Afternoon, Zanati. Thanks for having me. Yes, so we've seen that JSE open a lot weaker today in the red. So I think there's a couple of things driving that. I mean, from my point of view, I don't think we're expecting to see anything dramatically new at SONA. I know that the market is looking for some communication on policies, for the clarity on the NHI. But given that, we do have the elections coming up very soon, it's quite unlikely that we're going to see any dramatic communications on any of these things. And it's quite likely that the president will probably try to spin a positive picture on events, which will probably be quite difficult, given all the issues we've been facing in the country when it comes to things like high unemployment rates, the load shedding, issues at Transnet, and that list goes on. So what I think is actually, impacting our local market at the moment is what's happening in the US and the speak from Powell and the Fed about keeping the interest rates there higher for longer. They also indicated that there may be fewer rate cuts than what the market was hoping for this year. So all of those things I think are taking a bit of a knock on the JSE. And then we've also had some data coming out from China that didn't look very positive. We saw that PPI and CPI continues to trend downwards, which it signals that China might be in a deflationary environment now, which is obviously quite a concern because we definitely depend on China for a lot of our commodities in terms of the exports there. So I think it's a mix of factors impacting the market today, but probably more global factors, I would say, than local.
We'll talk about commodities. Let's actually go into the production updates that we got from the Anglo stable. And what was most notable was the reaction to Amplatz's production update. Of course, there a loss of over 6%. The PGM miner did say that it expects its headline earnings per share to drop by as much as 77%. Is there no light in the PGM sector in the short term, at least?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I think, it's just due to this commodity cycle. And at the moment, it's just not positive right now, given the lower commodity prices. And that's basically what's impacting these PGM miners and, just the miners in general in the country is you've just got a lower PGM basket price, and then you've got increased costs that are being driven by inflation. And that, of course, is, putting a lot of pressure on that bottom line. So for now, I think in the short term, probably not much relief in sight, but definitely over the long term. I think once we see some global economic recovery and we see improvements in the PGM basket pricing, then we should start to see a turn in these PGM stocks like Anglo American Platinum.
Yeah, indeed. The same story, even with Implats, that also came out with a further trading update today saying that it expects its bottom line to decrease by as much as 82%. Let's go into iron ore. Of course, Kumba part of that Anglo stable as well. Seeming that the reaction on Kumba iron ore was better than Amplats. There was a rise of about 2% there. A mixed picture with better iron ore pricing, but production there being halted by Transnet challenges. What did you make of that update?
Yes, so I mean, it's very unfortunate because, like you said, there have been better iron ore prices, which has been a positive, but that doesn't help the company if they can't actually get their product to the markets they need to sell it at because of all these constraints with Transnet logistics. So that's a very significant headwind for mining companies, I think, in general, not Kumba only, but I think Kumba in particular has been hit pretty bad when it comes to the issues at Transnet. And it's just very difficult because they're completely now dependent on Transnet to resolve those issues in order to, pick up their profits and to start performing better. So we're very hopeful that, they can come to some kind of a solution on Transnet this year and in terms of getting that bailout that they need, because it's obviously going to be very critical for the mining industry as a whole and the economy.
Yeah. And Anglo American, the parent, obviously diversified. It seems that copper is doing well there. How attractive is Anglo American, the parent, with the pressures that it's experiencing on the PGM side, but also with the Transnet issues that we just spoke about now with Kumba?
the positive with Anglo American, like you said, it does have a lot more diversity. It also has offshore mines and operations that helps with that diversity of income. So of course, it does have some headwinds, due to its subsidiaries that are based in South Africa and facing those Transnet issues. But I think Anglo American is probably better off because of the diversity of commodities. So it has exposure, to the likes of copper as well, which is expected to do quite well. The price is expected to go up quite a lot in the future. And just diversity of operations. They're looking to move into more countries just to become a more diversified miner. So I think probably a better off for now. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go into education. Curro came out with its year-end trading update today. The private education counter saying that it expects a recurring headline earnings per share to grow by as much as 37.2%. That share price was down 2% there. Obviously, the reaction contrary to what what they said that they expect on the bottom line. Was the devil in the details?
Yes, I think the devil was in the details in this case. So, I mean, if you look at it on the face of it, like you said, it seemed like a decent update. They've said there was good operating performance, strong cash flows for the period. They seem to be in a decent financial position. If you look at the learners, that just increased by 1.9% to about 73,000 learners now. And while they said that the high school continues to grow in line with their expectations, if you take a closer look, they've been experiencing quite a bit of challenges in the earlier grades because higher interest rates is definitely taking its toll now on consumers and on the parents of younger families who actually have been taking their kids out of school that are in those younger grades because it's just become too expensive. I think that is a bit of a concern that the younger grades are not managing to retain as many students as they need to. And just, given the very difficult macro backdrop, I do think Curro is one that would probably take some strain if they have further, students leave the school.
Yeah, all right. Well, Faheema, let's get to your stock pick for today. What will it be?
So my stock pick for today, we just saw the latest results come out from British American Tobacco. They seem to be making quite a bit of progress in terms of moving towards non-combustibles. That is now accounting for about 16.5% of their group net revenue. And the new categories is actually turned a profit 2 years ahead of their original target, which is quite favorable and making very good progress in terms of that transition to a smokeless world that he has committed to. It has impaired those US assets due to the potential menthol ban. So I think that's quite largely been priced into it now. And I think going forward, it's just well positioned. And if you look at their recent update, they also mentioned that they're trying to dispose of their Indian business there, the partial shareholding in the Indian business, which should help unlock some cash for their shareholders and should enable them to deleverage the business a bit and to continue with their share buyback plans. So I think this is our stock pick for today.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and for your insights on what has been a driving investor sentiment today. That was Faheema Adia from Momentum Securities.